Hey Pokemon fans, welcome back for another installment of Pokemon TFG action. We're going to take a look at some of these extra figures that I've got that, hey, have been repaired or need to be repaired in one way or another. And the reason that we're going to be looking at these is because if you are collecting TFGs in any way, you probably know by now, these things break a lot. And that's part of the reason why these things were actually canceled. So I'm going to show you a lot of different kinds of breaks that you can find with these types of figures and how to fix them. So that is definitely going to be one thing that is very important if you want to come across a lot of the more rare figures. And some of the figures that you're going to find are going to have different types of breaks. So I'm going to show you different types of Pokemon that generally come in the set with certain kinds of breaks, and then some that'll just typically come with other types, and I'm going to show you how to fix each one of them. So the very first one I want to show you is the first you're probably going to come across, and it is one of the most annoying to fix. It is this right here. I have a broken Brock. I'm going to show you here. Here's the Brock figure. He actually has not yet appeared in the review portions of these videos, but basically I want to show you what his break is. So what happens is I'm going to take the actual, this is a spinning base that has been broken, and I'm going to take it off just for the sake of showing you how it broke. So this was Brock's original base. He used to be sitting on here, obviously with the clear thing attached to him, and if he was shipped like this with it attached, eventually in the shipping something's going to happen. It really doesn't take much force. All that happens is just a little bit of shaking right in there, and click! The little peg, the little plastic peg, is now stuck inside of Brock. He can no longer spin, and it's a pain in the butt to get out because you really can't really pick at that little plastic thing, and basically the spinner itself is basically now just becoming a base. There's really nothing you can do to fix that, unfortunately. This little plastic thing, I was thinking about trying to glue the spoke back to it once I got it out. I can show you how to get them out in just a bit, but the thing is, it's kind of difficult to. Probably not going to be able to do it on film, so I'm just going to tell you how to do it. So I just generally use these as bases for figures that I have extras of that I don't really care if they spin or not, but when I have only one of a figure, I really would like it to spin, even though I'm probably not actually going to be, fighting or anything with this Brock, even though you really don't play at all with them in the game. I would like it to be able to spin. It's part of the charm of the figure, so you obviously want to fix it. So to do that, to fix these breaks, which, as I said, these happen the most, you're going to have to get that little plastic thing out of there, and then get a new base from another figure, unfortunately, and put it on this one. So something's obviously going to have to give up its base, probably a duplicate or something you've got, get an extra figure, and you're going to have to just donate the actual spinning base to it. So the act of getting this out is a pain in the butt. I'm going to get really close so we can see this thing. So as you can see, that is basically really, really tight in there, and you can try getting in there with like a paper clip. That probably won't work. It's really tough. Getting in there with a razor blade is a little bit easier, but it's still really tough. The problem with it sticking in there so well is because the reason that these TFGs spun very nicely on these stands is because they actually put a little bit of oily lubey stuff on the spoke of the spinner, so that when the figure was put on top of it and spun, it would have like an extra bit of suction, and it would spin very fluidly, so they would look really great when they spun, and they would spin farther. Some of my figures actually spin very far because of that, and it's very good. You get some of it on your fingers sometimes if you pull it off, and you mess with that spoke, and you probably shouldn't do that because it'll help them spin better. But anyway, that's the reason that this is stuck in here with so much suction. It doesn't want to come out after it's broken because there's no grabbing force trying to get it. Originally I thought I would have to do something like get a, you can either like heat up the end of a paper clip, trying to stick it in there, and then wedge it out. I was thinking maybe get like a paper clip or something that's got like some really intense glue on it, try and stick it on there just in that spot and pull it out. You can try that as well, but I was actually very surprised. It was my dad's idea for figuring out what to do to get rid of those little things, and what he decided to do really scared me. It required a drill, and another one of the fixes I'm going to show you later also requires a drill. It's kind of scary, but it's the best way to do it, unfortunately, because it's the easiest way to get it out. It's kind of scary, but it's the easiest way to get it out. That's why I'm probably not going to do it on film. What you would have to do is get a drill bit that is smaller than this, it must be smaller than this, okay? Obviously you don't want to destroy the whole thing because it'll never spin again. Must be smaller than that spot. You want to get the drill, hold the figure, probably kind of easier with Brock because I can hold him like this, drill right into here, perfectly level, not very far though, you only want to go in just a bit. You can coat your drill with a little bit of tape after you measured how far exactly you want to go, so I'll put my finger in like right here and I'd probably coat my tape right there, right, so you can tell exactly when you want to stop drilling. You're going to drill in just a bit, stop, hold it in there, and then kind of tip it. Say if my finger was the drill, you want to tip the angle so you have pressure on one side, keep the drill where it was, and it'll slide right out. It's the easiest way to fix that. Brock has not been fixed, just so I could show you in the video, and hopefully that'll help you guys in fixing your brakes right there. Like I mentioned a few other tactics if you're really uncomfortable with using the drill, but I'm telling you that's the best way to do it. I have fixed several videos with fixed several figures with my dad's help by doing this. One of which was this golem here, who now spins perfectly fine. I was really bummed when I got this golem in a random pack because I was so excited to get a golem. I really wanted one, but the figure was broken because it wouldn't spin. I was so upset, especially because golem has some of the coolest attacks and he was really powerful for the game. I really wanted to play with my friends with this thing. So I was really bummed that I couldn't get him, and my dad actually gave me a hand in fixing these guys, so it was very helpful to get that fix. And also this Wheezing also had the same break, but just to show you guys in case you don't really see the differences, putting it back on its original base, if you don't have a new base, like I gave Golem a new base there, they're going to spin like this, which is basically the problem you're trying to fix, because if the spoke is in there or not, they're basically going to spin like that. That's basically worthless. So this thing is basically just acting as a nice stand for the Wheezing there. The thing is, this Wheezing, like I said, the spoke has been removed, it's just been put back onto a bad base that has been broken. So that is basically just to show you what would happen if you were to use a different base. Obviously he would still wobble too, so that is also very annoying. Golem here will not wobble at all. Another base, not a base, a break I would like to show you guys is with the Kyogre I've got back here. Some of the Pokemon, depending on which ones you get, have very slender parts that can be broken very easily. And unfortunately, this Kyogre I purchased came in with a broken wing right here. This was actually like smacking around inside the package. I could see it and it was awful. So right when he came out, I was like, oh shoot, I think I'm gonna have to use super glue, but how is that thing gonna stay? You basically just have to hold it. You have to get a little bit of super glue. This is the most obvious of fixes. Just press the spots together after you put a drip of super glue in there. Only downside is if you get very close, you can see where you have fixed these figures after you've done it. So you can see right here on this Kyogre, there's a little line of glue residue. I could probably scrape it off, but I'm kind of worried to mess with this one too much. Because I've done that to this one, I'm thinking about shiny painting him just so that he can, one, have an extra coat of enamel that would go right there and probably hold that together a little bit better, but two, I mean, I'm obviously not going to be playing with this one because he's broken and I'm a little worried about spinning him, so because of that, you know, it'd be kind of cool to make a shiny paint of one of my Pokemon TFGs, and it's a good excuse to do it. So the last break I'm going to show you involves Ho-Oh in particular. There are other Pokemon that also break this way. If you have TFGs and you have a broken Ho-Oh, you probably already know what I'm talking about. There are other Pokemon TFGs like Skarmory, let's see, there's Spearow, the Zubat from Groundbreakers. There's a lot of these figures that basically will break off right here at the base with this clear plastic bit that is supposed to stick into that little black part. I'm going to hold this one up and bring it closer to you so we can see. Actually, I'll hold this one, because this one arrived in its package completely unbroken. Believe it or not, those two Ho-Ohs have been fixed after both coming broken. I'm going to show you the differences and show you how I fixed them. So this is what the Ho-Oh is supposed to look like. I'm going to get very close down here so we can see down there at the bottom. See, it doesn't look exactly great down there anyway, but as you can see right there at that bottom bit, a little too much stress on Ho-Oh, and he falls off in the package. He'll be clanging and clanging around, and it's just a really ugly sight when it arrives, and you see a broken Ho-Oh in there, because you're like, oh, here comes my EX rare, this is amazing, and it's snapped off. That's awful. Ho-Oh is also very good in the game too to play with, so it's a real bummer to have one broken. Fixing one is very hard, but you can do it and you can fix them perfectly. So that's why in my video that I'm going to make for figures that I want, if there's any figures like that I want, like Skarmory or Zubat, I don't honestly care if they're broken there. I would be willing to pay less to get a broken one and repair it myself, because I know it is possible, it's just hard. So I'm going to show you this Ho-Oh first, just because he's a little closer to me. This one is not on a spinner base, I just didn't have enough. He probably donated one, because he's a duplicate anyway. So we're going to get really close here, and you're going to see, come on, focus, here we go. A little bit of glue residue around the bottom there, and you're going to see a little bit of glue residue on the other one, but you're really not going to see that much. See, now this base actually has a couple scratches on it, and you see that's because when Ho-Oh was being packaged after he broke off, he was smacking around inside the box, and obviously it looks like he was actually hitting his face against that base, because it's scratching a little bit of the paint here, scratching a little bit of the paint there, and those were smacking against each other. It's just a really ugly sight. So this one might even get shiny painted as well. Now, the way to fix these are very, very difficult. If you noticed one thing about the way that I already have them fixed, the angles for these Ho-Ohs are very, very slightly different. And that's because the way to fix them also requires a drill. This is going to be scary. If you really want to fix one, it's going to be scary, okay? You will be scared. What you have to do is, and there's really no other way around it, you can try and superglue him back to the spot where he was before and just hope that he stands up. He won't. He just won't. He's too heavy, he's not completely balanced that way. He's balanced in the center of the figure, as you see from above. He's not balanced based on where he's spoked in. So he will fall almost every time. It's probably not going to work. Now, the way to do it, you have to get a drill the exact same bit width as this plastic spoke. Now, that's easier to check, obviously, with a broken one. I no longer have a broken one, obviously, because I fixed these. Actually, my dad really helped me fix these because I was really scared to mess around with a drill. But that little spoke right there actually needs to be matched perfectly with the drill bit. And what you do, you just obviously hold it up, check, alright, that is the exact same size as that drill bit, I'm good. What you have to do then, measure with that tape method again. You want to put the drill bit down on the base right here, face down, and then measure with that tape exactly how much depth needs to go in to penetrate this little base that Ho-Oh's on, because you don't want to break through and go into the base itself. I think one of my Ho-Ohs actually did break through just a little bit by accident and went into the bottom of the plastic base. Just a bit, but it was glued back in and sealed shut, so it's not a problem anymore. So just in case you do make a mistake like that, just seal it up with a little bit of glue and cover it up. It's no big deal. The only downside is it's just going to be slightly lower than it should be. So you basically just drill just a little bit into there, and then when you made that perfectly snug hole, you then try and re-glue the figure with super glue. You hold it just in spot, dab the glue in, and then after that's dried, you flip it over, dab the glue on the other side if you did accidentally penetrate it, and then after it has settled, it's probably going to stay like that. So that is a really good way to fix these. Here is another one that has been fixed. This one is a little bit more obvious with the glue residue, as you can see right there, kind of stuck in a circle, but this Ho-Oh was actually stuck up in a better, more aligned pose. The stick is much straighter. I think we did this one first and we just kind of made a bit of a mistake while we were doing that. And this Ho-Oh did not penetrate at all, so he stands up much nicer. He stands a little taller, so that is good. With this method, we also fixed a broken Darkrai that I had, and I was really scared about messing up that Darkrai. Fortunately, we did him last, and we did it great. It looks really nice. You can actually see how that Darkrai turned out. in another video that I've already finished, and you probably won't even tell that it was broken when I got it. So that is the point of doing all this. That is really great, because you get a lot of these figures and you really like them, and you really don't want to go buy a new one and replace it at the expense of them probably coming in broken again. Now, if you're really worried about a figure coming in broken, there's a couple recommendations I have for avoiding some of the breaks. To avoid this break that we saw with Brock, you can ask the seller to ship the figure in like one of those trading card game little plastic cases, a deck box case. I've seen people send a figure or two in those, and they are very safe when you do that. You just put a little bit of packing inside, and you also ask them to take the base off the figure, because then you can package the figure like this with the spoke probably facing in. You wrap that tightly, put that inside of the deck box. Now you want to put that inside of the deck box and wrap that inside of another box and pat it in there. That way the figure doesn't have the extra chance of smacking around and hitting itself. It's probably not going to move. I've never had anything break when they do that. So it's very important to have the base taken off when you're shipped, or you want to send one to somebody else. Don't send it attached, because it doesn't matter how safe you package it, it always has that chance of being broken. The mailing system, no matter where it goes, has a very good chance of breaking it, and it's really not their fault. These things are very delicate. It's just how they were made. So I hope I've helped you guys figure out a couple of your breaks, and maybe you've fixed a couple of your figures because of this video. If you have any other questions, let me know down in the comments. If you found any other breaks in your TFGs, I will let you know the best way I would think that I would use to fix that particular break in the TFGs. So hopefully you guys are able to spin your old broken figures again. I will see you guys in the next trading figure game review video.